Of all the relationships in your life, your relationship that you have with yourself is going to be the most important. It's certainly going to be the most long lasting. But like all relationships, it's not always healthy. In this video, we're going to look at some important tools that will help you build a healthy relationship with yourself. And if you care about healthy relationships, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That will make sure you get all of our great videos to help you have the best possible relationships with important people in your life. But what does a great relationship with yourself actually look like? The first sign that you have a good relationship with yourself comes from how you speak to yourself. Is your internal monologue or inner voice kind to you? When we speak to people we love, we speak kindly. We don't constantly point out every mistake that they've made in their lives. We don't berate them, especially for things they have no control over. We don't call them names. In fact, most of us wouldn't do those things even if we didn't love the person we're talking to. It's not nice or polite, and it probably wouldn't cross our minds to be so hurtful to almost anyone, except when we're talking to ourselves. When we speak to ourselves, we can often be incredibly rude, cruel, and unforgiving. But this isn't a sign of a good or healthy relationship with ourselves. In a healthy relationship with ourselves, our internal monologue would be as kind and loving as the things we say aloud to others. The second sign of a good relationship with yourself is that you always make sure that your needs are consistently met. We all have needs. We all need to take time to rest. We all need to spend time with people we care about and love. We need to look after our physical health. We need to set aside time to visit the doctor. We need to look after our mental health. However we need to do that, we need to think about all of our needs and do what we need to do to make sure that they're met. The third sign of a great relationship with yourself is that you pay attention. When we're with anyone else we value, we pay attention to them. We listen to what they have to say and we believe what they tell us. Do you do the same with yourself? Do you listen to what your mind and body are trying to tell you? Or do you just push through? If you feel hungry, do you believe what your body is telling you? Or do you try to convince yourself to ignore it because it's not time yet? What about when you feel anxious? Do you pay attention to that feeling? Do you believe it? If you pay attention to what your mind and body are telling you, that's great. You probably have a good relationship with yourself. If not, that's okay too. There are plenty of ways that we can improve that relationship, and you do have the rest of your life to work on it. So let's look at the best tools for building a great relationship with yourself. Let's start at the beginning. Before you can meet your own needs, you need to understand them. Take the time you need to really understand yourself better. There are lots of different ways to do this, but they're all working towards the same goal of self-awareness. Journaling lets you set aside time to focus on yourself. It encourages you to find the words to describe how you're feeling and explore ideas and patterns. It's also really helpful to have a record of how your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs might have changed over time. Mindfulness and meditation achieve a similar goal, but without the written records. They can be more helpful if you struggle with accessing your emotions, because you don't need to try and find the right words. Instead, you're focusing on experiencing your emotions without putting them into categories or explaining them. Now, the next step is to change how you speak to yourself. Your inner monologue has a huge impact on how you think about yourself, as well as how you expect other people to treat you. Lots of people like to use positive affirmations to try to improve their inner monologue. Now, I'm going to admit, I am not a fan of that strategy. Obviously, I'm never going to tell you not to do something if it makes you feel better about yourself and improves your self-esteem. I wouldn't do that. But I don't think affirmations often actually do that. Instead, what happens is that you force yourself to repeat a phrase such as, "I am beautiful and perfect in every way," into the mirror every morning, but you don't actually believe it deep down. I'm not perfect in every way, and it's completely unrealistic to believe that I can be or that I should be. When we say something by rote that we don't actually believe, our subconscious leaps into action. My mouth says, "I am perfect in every way," and my inner monologue starts yelling, "Well, yeah, except that bit where you get really angry at people who whistle in public and forget to phone people on their birthdays. I mean, that's not perfect, is it? And don't forget that time when you..." Oh, that's not fun. This isn't giving me a kinder inner monologue or rebuilding my relationship with myself. If anything, It's teaching me that I can't believe the things that I say to myself, which doesn't seem particularly helpful to me. Rather than focusing on affirmations, which I think are easy but ineffective, I recommend trying to monitor your internal monologue and asking yourself whether you would say those same things to a close friend. When you realize that you're being too harsh, try to stop yourself and say something along the lines of, okay, that wasn't kind. I can do better than that. What I really mean is, and they then say something that's both kind and true, the kind of thing that you'd say to someone you care about. For example, if your inner monologue says, I'm such an idiot, you might say, okay, that wasn't kind. I can do better. What I really mean is, I made a mistake that I didn't need to make, but everyone makes mistakes sometimes. I'm going to do better next time. You also need to start setting aside time to do things that bring you pleasure. Every relationship needs time, care, and attention. And that's just as true of the relationship you have with yourself. You wouldn't expect a romantic relationship to thrive if you never spent time going on dates or doing things that you both enjoy just for fun. And yet we seem to expect that of our relationship with ourselves. Rather than constantly focusing on expectations or responsibilities, think about things that are just enjoyable. For example, I love gardening, but I still end up with a gardening to-do list and a set of tasks that just have to get done. It's something I enjoy, but it's not free of responsibilities. Sitting in my garden with a glass of wine, watching my dogs chase each other, on the other hand, is pure joy. It's important to put down the to-do list sometimes and do things that bring you joy to help you rebuild your relationship with yourself. This is especially important if you make promises to yourself or bribe yourself to push through barriers. If I have a deadline, for example, I might promise myself a day off when I finish it. I've sometimes gone back on that promise, which is a terrible way to build a relationship with yourself. And more often than not, I find myself falling ill afterwards. You need to be able to trust yourself implicitly. And if you break that trust, you might find that your body finds other ways to force you to slow down and take more care. Now, another tool for building a better relationship with yourself is to start paying attention to your body and how you feel physically. This might mean thinking about your breathing and noticing when you're taking short, shallow breaths. You can also try to notice tightness or parts of your body that feel sore, restricted, or tense. Quite often for me, that's my shoulders. Now, the fifth tool we're going to look at is to spend more time alone. Just as you need to spend time alone with your partner to build on your relationship, you need time by yourself to build the relationship you have with yourself. This lets you focus on your own needs. Being with other people inevitably means making some compromises. Spending time entirely by yourself is often the only way that you're able to just get rid of all the compromises and put your needs entirely first, to not pay attention to anyone else, and to say that my relationship with myself right now is the only thing that matters. You might not feel terribly comfortable spending a lot of time alone at first, and that's completely okay. That's normal. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the stronger your relationship with yourself is going to be in the long run. Now, don't forget that when you're building a relationship with yourself, this is an investment in every other relationship that you're going to have in your life. In all of the videos that I record for this channel, I'm constantly telling you guys that so many of these problems come from our own insecurities or our own difficulties or something we learned in childhood, whatever it might be. What happens is we carry those with us and we don't have the kind of relationship with ourselves that we need in order to have a healthy, happy, strong relationship with other people. Now, in an ideal world, that wouldn't be your motivation for building a healthy relationship with yourself. In an ideal world, building a healthy relationship with yourself would be important to you just because it's a good thing and it's important to you. But if you need a little bit of an extra impetus to push you to work on your relationship with yourself, reminding you that it's going to make a huge difference to every other relationship in your life, is a good start. So that's all we have to say on how to build a better relationship with yourself. How does that fit with you? Do you think that there are any other signs that you might have a great relationship with yourself? Do you know anyone who has an amazing relationship with themselves? And how did they manage it? How have you built a better relationship with yourself? Or is that something you're still struggling with? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.